I'm Bob App with Kennebec Baseball. I'm the vice president of the league, and we wanted to, first off, I wanted to thank the Parks and Rec, as well as Bob Mikulski for doing what they did to the concession stand. It's an awesome job, it was beautiful, and that will help not just the kids, but everybody in the community as well, to be able to use that and keep it up and running. But we felt that just in the last few years that we haven't really communicated as much as we should. And being as large of an organization as we are, it's important that we do that. We have, and I gave you guys the numbers up there, we have, this year alone, we have...
1 second, Bob.
Yep. Sorry about that. So I think that a lot of times people don't, in the community, really know how large our organization is and how many kids that we have. And again, we don't communicate that enough. So this is a big, busy time of our year, and we had our registration, and just feel that it's important that we come and kind of do our little speech and tell you kind of what we have going on. So if you look up here, it's kind of hard to see, but our registration this year alone, we had 590 kids of rec league. We had travel ball, we had 80 kids. So we have a total of 670 kids throughout the league. So that's basically around 600 families, because some have 1 kid, 2 kids, within the area that are using our fields all throughout the summer. You can see a list, I'm not going to go through every one, but those are all the divisions that we have. You can see some of the younger teams there. If you look at Shetland and Pinto, there's 11 teams and 15 teams. If you look just a few years back, we were at like 6 and 10. So those are the kids that are, if you look at the 9, the 5, and the 8, Bronco, Tony, and Blaze, or not Blaze, I'm sorry, Bronco and Tony, those kids are going to be moving on. They're going to be going and playing high school ball. But that 11, 15, and 10, those are the young kids just coming on board. And that being said, it's growing, and you guys know that. I mean, you see the communities growing, you see the complexes growing, you see the plans going up, and there's a lot of conversation about roads and that kind of thing. But at the same time, we have to have places for these kids to play and to have parks. And I was glad that Tom kind of brought the idea up about a field and a complex. We've talked about that for years, and I'm glad the conversation is at least starting, so we can at least get the juices going. And Tom, just so you know, we are willing as a baseball association to, and again, this would have to all approve to the board, but we've already talked about, giving funds for that. So down the road, whenever you guys are ready and you want to talk to us, we're there. That being said, we also have a grant writer that we just hired about 4 months ago. They've been helping us out, writing grants, had a little bit of success. And we were working with him, and he's done a lot of stuff in the past as well. We also have a huge fundraiser every year. It's like a cash bash that we have down at Washington Fairgrounds. Last year we had 1,200 people there. Raised a ton of money. We did a great job with it. We're doing it again this year. So again, we have some funds coming in, but we're also a nonprofit organization, and we want to put lights up at some of our Falcone fields. So we're tight. We're tight just like all nonprofit organizations. So if you look, moving on, the season starts March 19th. That's our field day, where we'll have probably 30 to 40 different families come down, and they'll actually clean the fields. We rake the leaves, we trim, we do the fields as much as we can, clean the concession stand out, do basically the, hey, let's get started type of stuff. So we do that at Henderson, Cecil Elementary, which is not part of the township, and Cecil Park, and then we have the Falcone fields as well. We if you look at the amount of games that we play, 250 games in the spring. In the fall, we do about 65 games between Henderson and Cecil Park. Concession stand, we use about 60 nights a week in the spring and about 15 nights in the fall. In total, about 75 nights throughout the year. In the past, we've always donated, or I don't want to say donated, but we've given money to get our fields done and get them up and running. And you can just see, this is just since I've been on the board, since like 2011, but I know that there was stuff that was done previous, that we're always kind of there to step in and help and do stuff to the fields. So if you look, back in 2011, we gave 2,000, the township gave 2,000. 2013, we kind of separated from softball. They went on their own league, and they ended up going to Lawrence Field. So 3 fields were involved, and we got that one up and running with the help of, again, Bob Mikulski. He came in and scraped the fields and helped us out a lot to save a couple bucks. And so township gave 2,500, and we gave 31. We did the shed down here in Cecil Park. Again, we worked together at that point as well. In the last couple years, 2014 and 2015, Stewart Contracting and actually Mr. Andreas came down and really helped us with Henderson Field and scraping and doing some stuff down there. And then this year, we plan on getting, again, not just the Cecil fields, but we have 5 other fields over at Falcone. So altogether, we have about 8 fields that we're taking care of. But we have a contract in place this year for R&S landscaping, and they're going to come in and they gave us a quote for $12,000 right now, which works out to about $2,000 a field. And again, that's just a roundabout number. So we're going to get the Cecil Park field done. We're also going to get the Henderson field done, which needs the most work, and it always does. So basically what I'm asking the board and the township is to, as we've worked together in the past, we were hoping to, get a donation or get some kind of money towards the fields. And, just if we can help us out in some way, that'd be great. And then I also want to just, let's see, I had, the other request that I have is, every year we have trouble with the registration because now everything goes through the schools and we can't mail all the different registrations out to all the parents. So we were hoping to get a sign, kind of like Cecil Park has our Cecil Fall Festival has along the road, and get a baseball sign put up. We were going to try and get approval from you guys here, as well as try and get approval in Canonsburg and also in North Spain. So we'll have 3 signs throughout each area, and then we could get that put up along the road. So.
Well, just one question. Are you associated with Canamac Youth Athletic Association, or is there no such thing?
So 2 years ago, we were the only sport at Canamac that was not together. We had Cecil baseball, and we had Canonsburg baseball. They called themselves Canamac baseball. So both boards kind of said, hey, this is crazy. All these kids go to school together. They're all in this classes together, and they're literally sitting next to each other, and one plays at Cecil, and one plays at, Canamac. So we kind of got together. There's been a lot of benefits to it. Number one is, again, these kids get to play together. Number 2, as they get older, and you get into Canamac High School and the middle school, they can become more gelled as a team, working together throughout all their years and knowing each other. We also were able to bring funds together, which was huge, because we could do things like we're doing with the fields, getting lights, paving, things like that, concession stands, storage, better uniforms, it goes on and on. We also were able to do large fundraisers like we're doing. We would have never been able to do that before when we were just Cecil.
My question was,
I'm sorry.
With girls softball, with soccer, is there a youth athletic association?
There's not, no. Yeah, one time we had the Cecil Township Youth Athletic Association, but they all still worked separately. It was all under one, I guess. I mean, that was before my time, so I'm not sure how that was in place.
Well, I know you're working it out with our Parks Board and with the other leagues, but I guess the township in the past never had to be involved in your scheduling because everybody knew what they needed and they worked together. We really were never a part of it.
Right.
And we understand it's back on track that everybody recognizes that there's other leagues or associations that it seems like you guys are working well.
Yeah, we did. We just recently had a meeting with a couple of the township supervisors, and we had a softball team that came in and they wanted a field, so we worked with them. We ended up giving them a field. We also have a separate baseball travel team that needed a field. We worked with them. Of course, any resident that wants a field, we've never said no. So if anybody ever wants one and they need a field, just go through Teresa. She puts the field in, calls me and says, hey, so-and-so needs it, and we change our schedule. We just do it on drop of a dime.
So your request is for some donation. I think we've done it in the past. I'm not asking you now to do it unless you're ready. But we will address that for them.
Tom, can you hold on 1 second? My name's Ron Fleeher. I worked 2.5 years, even had to fight township supervisors, none of these. I got Angelo Falcone to donate you 11.5 acres. I went to United Mine Workers, I got you $297,000. I brought an engineer in that detailed the whole thing for 5 fields over Hill Station. About 3 months ago, I get a call from Ed Morasic, Angelo Falcone's attorney. And he wants to know, if you're not going to do nothing with that property, he wants it back. Plus, he gave $18,000 that they took out of there in timber. He gave it back to the league. And nobody has touched that over there for about 2 or 3 years. What are your plans for that? If not, give the man his property back.
Yeah, I actually had a meeting with Ed myself. I went because what had happened was, whenever I took over as president of Cecil, when this was before we were combined, I was the president. Of course, I was just getting my feet wet, and I was just trying to make sure that these fields were taken care of. And that was when Bill Graziani dropped out of the...
Well, I know what happened. As kids got older, their parents dropped out.
Sure.
I don't even have any kids playing.
Right. And
I
so,
just read for Cecil, and there wasn't enough field for kids.
Yep.
And I had a DEP out there and everything, because it was Phil Zaccarino and Ben Coleman that fought me every step of the way. And I got approval from them. They said, do what you want. And they said, Soil Conservation would manage it. So they moved all the dirt. It's ready to be fine graded.
It is, you're right. Yeah, and we've talked about it. Right now, we just really don't have the finances to just start building fields up there. There's no way in the world that we could put enough money into those fields. And I had gone to Ed and we had talked it out back and forth, because I didn't know the situation coming in as a president. Back in 2011 or 2012, I didn't even know what had happened. And everything that you just told me, I knew bits and pieces of that, but I did not know everything that you just said.
Well, they even made T-shirts that the one condition was it was going to be named Angelo Falcone Memorial Field.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know.
They made T-shirts and everything. It said coming in 2014, which never happened.
Yeah, and Consul was involved as well.
Consul was involved, and so were some hospitals.
Right.
Because they were going to build the first handicapped baseball field anyway.
Yep.
And it all went down the tubes and the property's sitting there.
Now, the other part of it that I heard, and I was kind of the outside looking in. The other part that I heard is when John Smith was here, they had said that they had put all that paperwork together, they sent it into Harrisburg, it sat on somebody's desk, because the reason they had to send it in there was because the right-of-way to get to that park would have been on a state road. And that's where it all fell apart.
I don't believe it.